All right. Appreciate you being on the podcast today, Tauni. But yeah, how are you doing overall?
Good. Not too bad. Snowing, so
Yep, yep. I guess yeah. If you could just give us like a little quick intro about yourself, and then yeah, and then we'll get started with today's podcast.
yeah. So my name is Tauni Vakapuna. I'm married, three or four kids. Sorry, three boys. Had just a newborn last year. Almost one.
Congrats, man.
And yeah, thank you. And then been in the tech world since I got out of college. So since 2012, so over a decade in tech. Um, So I've been in and out, but for the most part, been in some forms of fashion of tech.
Nice, nice. And then I guess before you got into tech, what was your upbringing like in terms of growing up? Was there anything tech related that you do growing up, or what was
Not at
that like?
all. Not at
Yep.
all. So I came from a sports background. Um, I'm one of eight children, and so very competitive background in all aspects of life, whether it's sports or whether it's last card. Very
Yep.
competitive background. Um, did a lot of labor, um, as we say, alpha, like work for free,
Yep. Yep.
just for the love of it. And then, yeah, lived a pretty simple life.
hmm Nice, man. So I guess that concept of ngao offa is, would you say that was instilled by your parents? I mean, like, was your dad one that forced you guys to go do ngao offa, or what was that like?
For the, yeah, for the most part, I mean, even with relatives, right? You go to work and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just you're there to help out because uh, I think, in my opinion, because I have visited Tonga, and then coming here, I think it's just to help them get ahead, right? It's my opinion. It's harder to live here than in Tonga. I mean, that's my opinion, mainly because life here is different. It's not the same as in Tonga. You don't grow what you eat here. It's literally you got to find work and feed your family.
Yep. Yep. No, I agree with you on that one. And then so I guess your sibling dynamics. What was that like growing up? You said you guys very competitive. What was it? Because
Oh
you
yeah.
is it where you fall in line with your siblings? Is that why it was real competitive, or just everyone in general is that way?
No, like actually, it's all a lot of it to my dad. Like my dad, when we would play card games, right? Started at card games, last card.
Yep.
Um, he would be talking so much trash to us, especially when he used that last card. He would.
Yep.
I don't know if it's a phrase that is used often, but um, sorry for my wrong. Like that's something
Yep. 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 Yeah. No, I get you. I get you.
my dad would say that when he had his last card, and he'd be like, "Hey, sorry for my wrong, man. Sorry for my wrong." And so just from that age and being right, being third oldest, you have your brothers who were really good in sports. Physically, they were really blessed. I think as far as height wise, I'm the shortest in my family.
Oh, I,
Out of eight kids, I'm the
yep.
shortest.
Dang, I didn't know
So
that.
I think a little bit has to do with little man syndrome. It's a real thing. Little short
Oh,
people
okay.
will
Okay.
deny it.
Yep.
It's a real
Yep.
thing. Little man syndrome was a real thing. So I think
Yep.
I had little man syndrome growing up too, because my brothers excelled in every sport, and so trying to even come close to them was a challenge in and of itself.
Yep. Yep. Man, that's interesting you say that about your dad, because like my perspective like of your dad growing up has always been like he's a real quiet guy. So I guess
No,
it's
no,
different because that's your dad. So, but from me
no.
on the outside, you know what I mean, outside looking in, he's always been like a very quiet dude. But yeah, that's
Oh
funny.
yeah, yeah. He's very. My dad is very competitive.
hmm
Very competitive.
No, that makes sense. And then I guess so. Growing up, I feel like a lot of your family, in terms of like football and stuff, a lot of you guys played running back. Is there a particular reason why a lot of you guys like tended to go towards that position?
No, that's just kind of how it unfolded, really. I wasn't the I wasn't good at running back starting out. I'd say I was a late bloomer.
Yep,
Um, my brother Fui played running back, and he
yep,
excelled in it.
yep.
Um, my other brother, find out we called him a horse because when he was
Hmm.
younger, man, he would just gallop into the end zone. Um,
Dang, yep.
and that wasn't the same for me. Again, physically, I wasn't blessed the same as them. They had all the
Right,
physical
right.
attributes, and so um, I think it just kind of that's how it unfolded. And then my youngest brother, Davey, he didn't even play running back. Actually, out
Hmm.
of us, the four boys,
Oh, okay.
he played the end.
Uh huh. And he went
And
to, I
so
think he
I
went to Woods
think,
Cross, right? Did he go to Woods Cross?
yeah, he went to Woods Cross. Went
Yeah.
to Woods Cross for a little bit, and then he tried his hand at Snow, um,
Yep.
and that just didn't work out for him.
Did you go to East, or where'd you go play high school football at?
I I went to East my freshman year, ninth grade year,
Yep.
and then I transferred over to Hunter High School,
Oh, okay.
or I should say Hunter Junior High. So because they had the ninth grade back in junior high,
Yeah.
so I went to high school for like 2 months, and then when I transferred over to Granite School District, hit back to Hunter Junior High,
But
which
oh, that's right. Yeah.
oh, that was the most terrible experience ever.
Why do you say that?
Because you get to taste the freedoms of high school, right?
Oh, right, right, right.
Going
Yeah,
to lunch, the opportunity to go out to lunch,
yeah,
7-Eleven,
yeah.
or
Yep,
to McDonald's or any of the fast foods, and then you come back to junior high and you're stuck.
yep.
You're
Hmm.
like imprisoned.
Yeah. No,
There's
it's
no
the same
freedom in
with
junior high.
yeah, yeah. No, I get you. Because in Davis School District, when I was in Bountiful, they ninth grade was still junior high, so we didn't go to which.
Mm,
And then all my cousins that were in Salt Lake District, they were already in high school by that time, that freshman year. So interesting, man.
you know,
Yeah. So the reason I bring up the whole running back thing is because like growing up, I grew up with most of your younger cousins, like Elvis and then Missy, those guys, and those guys all played
mhm.
running back and fullback. So
See, and they were
that's what I
better
was
than I
wondering.
was. No, they're because their dad, like Elvis's daddy, Loi. I think he
Yep.
was one of the best unknown coaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yep.
should be a coach, but for whatever reason, he's not. And
Yep.
so Elvis, I'd say Elvis and my little nephew Fui, um, were probably the best running backs growing up
Yeah.
that I
Yep.
can really like. Out of all my family, because we come from a big family.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you guys do.
And see, and I have a little nephew right now, Sateki Tongi. He's killing it too. So he's probably up there with Elvis and
Hmm.
Little Fui making as far as being a running back.
Right. Right.
They were way more developed than any of us ever were.
Hmm. Interesting, man. So growing up, like in school and anything like that, anything tech related, or was it just only like was gaming was like the
Man,
only thing
no,
related to
not
tech
even
wise that you guys?
gaming. So I had a friend from Vietnam, right?
Uh huh.
And this friend of mine, he introduced me to Napster. I don't know if you guys remember Napster.
I've heard of it before, but that might be before my time, man.
Okay, so I met my friend at Parkview. He had just immigrated over from Vietnam,
Yep.
and we kind of lost touch because my family moved down to Rose Park, and we went to Meadowlark. And when I
Yep.
went to junior high, because my brother Fui was going to East High at the time, it was just easier for us to all bus it, and so we would go to my uncle's and auntie's house in the mornings. But my friend, his name was Dewey Wynn. He introduced me
Hmm.
to Napster,
Hmm.
and the concept was fairly new, right? You could play free music, any music that you wanted,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
where you could choose. And
Yep.
so what I started doing is I started introducing Napster to everyone I knew because he introduced it to me. And so I started downloading Napster on every computer at Glendale Junior High and
Yep.
started showing some of my friends, like, hey, listen, you can get these songs for free. Like
For
songs that
free.
you, yeah, like the Bone Thugs was huge back when I was growing up, right?
Yep.
And so you could get all the Bone Thugs music for free and listen to
Yep.
it. And so that's what we did when I was in junior high. So that was my first exposure to like the outside world is Napster.
That's crazy. So is this before LimeWire?
Way before LimeWire.
Oh, okay, okay. Because
So Napster was
I
before
remember LimeWire
LimeWire.
being, yeah, okay.
So Napster was illegal. At the
Oh,
time, we
okay.
didn't know, right? We were
Yep.
just
Yep.
students, and my friend just introduced this to us, Napster. And so there were songs that, because back then you had CDs, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
kids
Yep.
would come with CDs to school and hey, listen to this song. This is the best song. And this is when burned CDs was a thing, right? Burning
Yep.
music. And if you had a CD that could burn music, man, you were popular, right? A lot of kids
Popular.
would come
Yep.
up to you. And
Oh, I
so
bet. I bet.
when Napster was introduced, everyone's just started getting this. Everyone started just downloading songs, but we didn't understand how Napster worked at all. I just knew that if I wanted music, I had to download Napster and then find the songs and then download it to the hard drive of Napster.
Man, that's crazy. So
Yeah, so we were
that
doing
was like
something.
your
It wasn't
earliest
illegal.
experiences, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I think my eighth grade year they finally got a teacher there, but we were downloading music before then. Probably when I was in seventh grade, and we were
Yep.
downloading music everywhere on Napster. Um, so there was no firewalls or anything like that. But then Glendale finally got budget to put a computer room in, and there was a teacher there, and he was like, "Guys, that's illegal." And I was like, "No, it's not. But we've been doing this for years now, almost a year."
The cops haven't showed up, so we're good,
Yeah, I
man.
was like, and I didn't like none of this stuff. No one knew. Only our teacher knew. It was like, this is all illegal stuff. I was like, it was free.
Yep.
Like, you can download it. Like, watch. And then we would show him Napster. It was like, yeah, Napster's illegal. And I was like, oh, well, we
Yep.
haven't got busted yet.
And then moving on into like high school, what was that like? Anything? Did you do anything tech related there, or anything with Napster?
No,
Did
so
it progress
that's,
to anything
I
like
think that's when
gaming wise or movies?
not gave me at all or anything. Actually, burning CDs, right? That was the next big thing, right? It was Napster, downloading music for free on your hard drive that you can listen to at any time, and then burning CDs. So this is when LimeWire, and so
Oh, okay. Yep.
people started selling CDs, and burning CDs. And if you were able to burn CDs, then right, you were part of you were up there. And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
we had a computer, but it wasn't burn CD capable, right? You could barely
Hmm.
access the internet at that time. This is when we had dial up internet, where you had that
Yep.
tone. This is what, like, you couldn't call while we were on the internet. Um, so that was my experience in high school. And really, you didn't really use the internet too much in my high school until my senior year. We were introduced to Halo, where
Oh,
you
yeah.
could.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so Halo start was huge when I was in high school, and this is where we were
Hmm.
first introduced. A buddy of ours introduced us to gaming online, and that just
Okay.
opened up a whole new world to
Right. Right.
not just me, but a lot of our friends.
Hmm.
Because my
So what year did
cousin,
you graduate?
I graduated in 2004,
Okay. Yep. Yep.
but like my cousin, he gravitated. He was always good at video games. His name is Tauni. Man, he was so good. And when he got introduced to this group, like everyone, I thought my skills were good. I thought I was a top tier gamer, and then I got introduced to these guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I was nothing. And then, but my cousin, he would always keep up with these guys. Sometimes he would win, and I was like, man, like this is crazy. But like we'd have some. I think my senior year, instead of like going to parties and stuff, we would actually be gaming instead.
Have those Halo parties.
Those Halo parties, right? Like Halo 1 was probably
Yep.
the most. Oh man, that was the best game ever.
Yeah, that was a classic, man. So like, cause growing up, I experienced those games just from and we'll probably get into this later, but Bono had chipped our Xbox and it had all these
Oh yeah.
games that like Halo and stuff. So that's how we got our first experience with Halo was through that. But yeah, Halo 1's one of the best games in my opinion in terms of Halo. One of those things I'm trying to do is like to download it on like a Raspberry Pi and try to see if I can get it spun up and play it up again, see if it can handle it. But interesting. So after high school, what would you do after that? In terms of like life and stuff.
So I went and served a mission in the Philippines, LDS
Oh,
mission.
nice.
Um, yeah, so
Yep.
I served an LDS mission in the Philippines, and that's where I got a lot of exposure um, with tech in and of itself. So in the Philippines at the time, it's different, right? For them to access internet, you had to go to these cafes, and I would say they were
Oh, okay. Yep.
almost more advanced than we were because as far as video chatting, they were doing it all. I never video chatted really um,
Before. Yep.
before that. Like I thought video chatting was like, oh, this is somewhat cool, but it wasn't a thing,
Is
right?
this
But
0506 that you went?
no, I went oh 06, oh
Yep.
06, yeah, oh 06,
Yeah.
oh
So
08 or
yeah, that
something.
would still be early on when like there was no video chat or it was
Yeah.
like very sparse.
Well, it was video chat. Like right now, the video quality is really good, right? But back
Yeah.
then, the video quality was terrible. But they were
It's
doing it
choppy.
in the
Yep.
Philippines. Yep. In the
Hmm.
Philippines, because of just the way the dynamic works, um, they they leverage the heck out of the internet.
Man, that's interesting. I had a lot of Filipino companions when I was in New Zealand, and they were big gamers, like PC gamers, though. So I understand what you're talking about, like those internet cafes, because it's the same thing in New Zealand when we go. Most people have computers now, but like the internet cafes where we would go do our emailing to our families and stuff. So I definitely understand where you're coming from that aspect because a lot of my companions they're like, oh, I'm so tempted to play like there's a game called Dota. I'm not sure if you've heard of it before,
Mm-mm.
but a lot of them, a lot of my Filipino companions, they were like hardcore gamers when it came to that game.
Yeah. So, and while I was on my mission, this is when YouTube started popping up too.
Oh, okay, yep,
Um, I think that came in my 2007, 2008. That's when YouTube
yep,
started getting big and massive. And so I was introduced, even though I was removed, I was in a third world country, like technology was still there. Like I was seeing the aspect of how technology was able to connect people, um, both good and bad.
yep. No, that's cool, man. So you bring up the good and bad part. What do you mean by that?
So in the Philippines, right? In the Philippines, they have these things called DOMs, and the acronym for that is Dirty Old Men. So anytime
Oh,
you
okay,
see a
okay.
foreigner, and you can tell the foreigner, right? They just don't belong. They stick out like a sore thumb. And
Yeah,
the way they would connect, and the reason why they were connecting was for the younger women.
yeah,
And so when you would go to the city, because I worked, the areas I was assigned to was in the real rural areas. So like internet cafe, the internet connection was really terrible, and so we had to go to a city,
yeah,
a more developed city. And so when we go to the city, that's where we saw a lot of these foreigners that weren't from the Philippines that would come in. And the funny thing is, like, I think they had this idea because they were a foreigner. Some Filipinos did, um, because they were a foreigner, that there was a lot of money tied to them, and so uh, they would give off that impression. But when you talk to some of these foreigners, I would talk to them. I think it was funny enough. The one I talked to, I asked him what his real job was, and he was from Florida, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just a dude from Florida." I was like, "Oh, really? That's awesome. What do you do?" And he told me he was a dog catcher, and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm a dog catcher." But the dynamic in the Philippines, right? They're really community family based, and
yep,
so if um, if these individuals are able to connect with someone from the outside, they're going to have to take care of that family.
yep.
so they think, right? And then, sure enough, when they do go to America, or when this individual went to America, life wasn't what they thought it was. Life
Yeah.
in the Philippines was a lot better for them. Better for them.
Right, right,
So
right.
uh, that's what I think. There's good things and there's bad things. And I still, to this day, I still have some of the people I worked with. I still connect with them to this day.
Hmm. Man, I'm glad you bring that up because we always talk about a lot of the good things in tech, but like there are some bad things that come from it, right? And similar to what I do in my own work is like we deal with like piracy or like you talked about earlier, like
And
some
see,
things that can
piracy.
become illegal, right?
Oh, piracy is huge. Like every movie that came out in the Philippines, it was funny. Me and my, I had a friend, one of my companions. Like before we left home, there was so much DVDs that movie pirated. Like all of the Harry Potter movies that came out, you could get them
Oh,
on two
yep.
discs,
You
and they
probably
were
had it
like,
before it came out.
yeah, 30 pesos, which is not even like it's like 50 cents. And so
Man,
I
that's
came home
crazy.
with all these. Okay, I'm not snitching on myself because
No, no,
it's
you're fine. You're
time.
fine. It's the most of the people that get in trouble with piracy. It's
It's
the
like
people
it's
that
20
actually
years
do the
ago.
piracy.
So yeah,
Those movies are
I was
gone
just
already.
buying. I was buying Harry Potter. Like I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
those DVDs way before they even came out, and they were great quality.
yep, yep. No, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad you bring that up because it gives a good perspective of like, there's the ethical side of like, of tech, and then there's the unethical side, right? So we always talk about that when in terms of hacking, like what's crossing the borders of like good and bad.
Hmm.
But
Oh yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that experience up, man, because it definitely gives insight to like that side of what tech can be used for. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and I'm sure
after your
there's
mission,
probably worse stories in the Philippines that I'm
yeah.
not aware of, but I'm sure there's great ones too. I had a friend who I believe got a role in Dubai because they
Oh,
were able to
nice.
connect. Yeah, and so because his expertise in coding, he was able to get a job in Dubai and provide for his family that way. So again, there's good and there's bad about it.
Definitely. Um, I wanted to like pick your brain on this subject. So like you bring up Dubai, and I just think like, what are your thoughts on Dubai in terms of like tech or just in general, like how it's been growing lately? You know what I mean? Because that's one thing I've always seen or I've recently seen is that there's just been like this massive like growth in terms of business, tech, and a lot of Americans are like sending their business there. So what are your thoughts on that?
Man, Dubai is. I see. I only got a chance to because I was in the military and deployed mm, to the Middle East, and I had a chance to
Oh, that's
go
right.
to Dubai. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and because in the military you work with contractors a lot, and they're able to get off base, and they understand of what's going on around there. I will say Dubai is more advanced as far as lifestyle than America is.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything you can think of, Dubai does or is doing already. So, for example, one in particular, and I see it starting to pick up steam here, is gas delivery for your cars.
Yep.
In Dubai, that was a service that was provided easily. They provided that service, and to me, I was like, man, people are lazy here, and it's not that they just value their time, right? Someone was able to build an application and build a business where they could get gas delivered to your house. So you're not having to wait at the gas station or
Oh,
to
that's crazy.
yeah. So I started, and just recently I just started seeing that business. So um, like there's a lot of tech being developed outside of America that we're not aware of. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
businesses, um, but I think like technology is definitely leading leading the industry in almost all aspects of life, like AI.
Hmm.
I've been messing with AI a little bit. Um, as of late, I built my own agent, AI agent,
Oh,
and
nice.
just today it was crazy. So, Chat GPT, right? You can now
Yep.
have it do tasks for you. And so I had
Yeah.
it order a pizza for me. I just wanted to test it out. So I had it order me a pizza for 11, and it did.
Hmm.
And so
Dang, that's
I just
crazy,
think
man.
technology is only getting better. We just need to know better how to use it, how to leverage it.
Yep. Man, that's cool. So I want to go back a little bit. After your mission, you came back, and then what was your kind of plans there, and then, how what happened after that?
So when I got off a mission, I wanted to go into the medical field actually and help into healthcare.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep.
So I wanted to get into nursing. And so when I came back, I went back to Dixie State College,
Yep.
right now Utah Technology,
Hmm.
and they had a nursing program. So I started taking the prereqs to get into the School of Nursing there. And I think after a year, after I did my clinicals, uh, I understood that it wasn't for me. Being a nurse, at least,
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
um, it wasn't for me just because of the work that was required. I just couldn't handle it, couldn't crack it. So shout out to all the nurses who are
Yeah.
able to.
Yep.
Me myself, I just couldn't do it. And so I wanted to stay in the path of healthcare. And so uh, this is when my mom started. Her and my sister finally were a match for. They did some testing because my mom at the time had dialysis. Her kidney
All
were
right.
failing,
Yeah. Yep.
and so decided to transfer back up here to the U. Um, and at that time, I was still doing nursing, but I knew I wanted to switch, and wanted to do something in healthcare. So I started taking prereqs to be a PA because I saw that one of my buddies had done the same route. Um, but
Yeah.
instead of doing the biology route, I was going to do the exercise science. And so
Hmm.
I was doing that, and then um, probably when I got into my junior year, end of my junior year, I was told that I needed another 2 years. And
Hmm.
at that point, I probably racked up 100 credits of college credits.
Yeah.
And I think you only need 120 to graduate. And so I said, no, I don't want to be in school for another 2 years. And so I looked at what the easiest path to a degree was, and that was sociology at the time.
Yep.
And so that's the route that I took, and was able to I graduated with 160 by the
Yeah.
time I was finished with college,
Hmm.
my first degree, at least.
Hmm. Nice. And then, so you said you joined the military earlier. When did that come into play? Was that right after you graduated from the U, or
No,
how did that
no.
come about?
So, um, when my wife and I got married, my wife's family is military background. So my father-in-law is
Hmm.
retired chief. And my brother-in-law is uh, retired as well. And then my sister-in-law, um, who is still currently serving, she's a second lieutenant, or actually, she's a captain.
Oh,
Sorry,
nice. Yep.
she's the captain. And so they're the ones who kind of introduced the military to me. At first, I was hesitant because I kind of wanted to prove that I could be a provider, right?
You're
And
right.
so that's when I got into the world. I mean, I first started doing door to door right out of college, um,
Yep.
because every other job, they tell you the story, right? They tell you if you go to college and get a degree, you can get a high paying job. Well, that wasn't the case
Yeah.
for me. Almost every role that
Hmm.
I applied for, I soon figured out that the degree that I got didn't do anything. It was a social
Yeah.
science. In order for me to do something with it, I needed to go into graduate school.
Hmm.
Um, and I didn't want to go into debt. And so I picked up the first job, which was door to door, doing selling pest control, which I actually enjoyed. Um,
Nice.
and then, um, and then a year after, or not a year after, probably the fall, I got married, and then I accidentally fell into the world of technology.
Okay.
Um, and then from there, that's when I joined the military. I was at a reseller of HP for about 2 years before I joined the military.
Hmm. Nice. So tell me about that, the whole like accidentally falling into tech. How did that happen and what was it that made you accidentally get into it, I guess?
So I had no direction, right? And I didn't really know what to do because the only exposure I had to work, I mean, I worked before, I worked concrete work before. I worked at, uh, I worked at those facilities for kids, correctional facilities. They're not really correctional. They're those jobs over at St. George, problem kids.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um, and so I've worked those before, but sales actually kind of exposed me to the work that you put in. Um, could be the work that you put out. That was my mentality because I was able to see that if I knocked more doors and I sold more, I made more. Right, so I wanted to stay in sales somehow, some way. Um, and so when I got back, I had applied to some sales roles. Um, some I had no business even applying for. I just did door to door, and I was like, I like sales for right now. Um, so I applied to like five other companies, and I decided on a company called Valcom, and that's how I got into
Ah, okay.
tech. I met with uh, the HR director, and then I was he was my mentor. His name is Sean Steele, but ran into him, and he interrupted our interview. Actually, he was the owner, and he was like he came in, um, and this is the thing, right? That you can leverage, and all of you student athletes should leverage is your name, image, and likeness. Because when he came in to interrupted our meeting, he came in and he walked in. He's like, "Hey," because he's a big BYU fan. He's like, "Hey, are you Fui's brother?" It's like, "Yeah, I
Yep.
am." And
Yep.
so that's how they offered me that first role there because he was a big BYU guy, and he knew I
Oh,
played for
nice.
Utah. So
Yep.
he was like, "You Fui's brother?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, let's go. We'll offer you.
Yep.
When can you start?" And I was like,
Nice, man.
"Let's do it."
Hmm. No, I definitely agree with you on like leveraging the whole student athlete. Like if you ever have that tied to, because I definitely do use it when I'm in interviews. Like I hope I bring the whole like I'm a great like when it comes to teamwork, there's no issues there. Like anything leadership wise, I've been trained within sports, to always build good camaraderie amongst my teammates, our work coworkers, and then like you said, just the fact to leverage that in your interviews because people who understand the life of like a student athlete will understand that they're just a hard worker. You're gonna bring on a hard worker onto your team if you hire one. So, so yeah, so you're working. You got this job, and then how did that lead to you? I guess going after like certifications or just in general. How did your career in tech develop over the years?
Yeah. So I started growing in that role, right in that company. Within 6 months, I became the manager of our group of they call it business development reps. Within 6 months was the manager, and then supported one of our guys who were outside. And so, as an inside guy and doing the inside role, you're building quotes, right? And you have to make sure that the quotes that you're building has every part in it. Because if you screw that up and they don't get the parts, the whole deal is not going to work. And your outside guy is not going to trust you in working with you. So they heavily rely on me learning the technology and all aspects of it, um, so we could get them the right quote. So we're not missing anything when we provide a solution for a customer. And so because of that portion alone, I always wanted to be technical, but it was like speaking a different language, right? Because I had no background in technology. I somewhat, right? I knew what the internet was, but I didn't understand what was how websites work, how servers work, how networking equipment. I had no idea what any of that stuff was. And so when I was an inside sales rep, I had to learn that. Um, and so I did that for about a year. And until I was offered a role being a storage specialist for HP. And
Oh,
in that
nice.
role, you had to be very technical. You had to
Yeah.
understand what the customer was needing or what the partner was needing, because that's what they were leading with the customer. And we had solutions, we call them solutions consultants. And anytime I talked to these guys, I enjoyed it because you could pick their brain and they knew things right off the top of their head. And so you'd say I climbed the corporate ladder, took different roles. And then when I was working with HP as a partner business manager, I remember sitting in a classroom and one of the executives had come into town to speak to us. And I remember he had mentioned, and this stuck out to me. He said, in the next couple of years, you will see cars having servers. And when he
Yeah.
said that, I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, in the next couple of years, cars will have servers. And the servers that we were selling, you had to understand that. And um, then they talked about cybersecurity. He connected with cybersecurity. It's like now is more important to know cybersecurity and the things uh, that involve that more than any other time in history, because cars will eventually, in a couple of years, cars will have servers in them. And that blew my mind. And so from that point on, I always knew I needed to be in cybersecurity, um, because the fact, the notion of someone could hack your car, to
Yeah.
me, I was like, dang, that's awesome. Like someone could hack your car or control your car from anywhere in the world. To me, that
Hmm.
was like, I don't know, that was video game ish type things or movie. Like that was like movie type deal. Like you can't even fathom it. And so that's kind of what opened my eyes to the world of technology and why I knew I needed to get involved in cybersecurity somehow.
Nice, man. Talk to me a little about, so you came from like a degree that's not like a technical degree. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to transition into cybersecurity? Because I feel like you have like a good experience to relate to someone like that, or someone who doesn't even have a degree. What advice would you give to them?
Man,
What's requirements, or what kind of passion is necessary?
so I took the old school route, because I had no background in cybersecurity. What I did is I went back to school. I leveraged the military, leveraged the benefits there to
All
go
right.
back to school and get a cybersecurity degree. Do you have to go that route? No, you don't. You don't have to, but it gave me a baseline of my education of what I know in cybersecurity. Um, And so if you want a baseline and you want to be more technical, uh, cybersecurity degree would make sense. Um, but you don't have to be. It just depends on the way you learn and what your resources are. Um, I would say the easiest way to get into tech or to get into cybersecurity is start with the company that you're working for now and see if you can get into the IT. Ask them, hey, are there any IT projects I can help work on?
No, I appreciate that. I think that's great advice you give because you know, it's one of those things, and I would agree with you in terms of like the route you go. It just depends on how you learn. For me, I feel like just because I didn't know anyone in tech at the beginning, I feel like I had to go the degree route just because in terms of like self learning now, I feel like if I could go back with the mentality I have now, I probably I'd probably still get my bachelor's, but after I think I could just self learning. You know what I mean? Get certifications. That's advice I would give to people. If you're a great self learner, maybe the degree is not the way you want to go or need to go. But like I said, I agree with you on that in terms of my learning. I felt like my degrees were useful in that aspect. But yeah, no, appreciate that advice. And then so you got your degrees, certificates. What are some of your goals in terms of the future with tech? I know you said you talked about you're building out your own AI agent, right? What's that been
Yeah.
like? What's that process been like for you?
So that process is a whole new learning process, right? So when I went back to school for my cybersecurity degree, I went to Western Governors University. And Western
Hmm.
Governors University, they just give you the material and it's pass or fail. You either pass the class or you fail it. And so I was able to pick up a lot of like how to learn, my
Yep.
methodology of how I learn. And to me, the way I learned is you have to just throw me in the fire. That's the only way I'm going to learn is throw me in the fire and sink or swim type. And so that's what I've been doing with AI. There's a lot of resources that you can buy, but there's also a lot of free resources. But I think the best resource is just get on and mess around with it, right? The one I'm building that I built is one specifically for me and the role that I have at work, where I have AI prospect for me for agencies and what technologies they use. So
Oh,
that's
nice.
specific to me. Um, but there's other AI agents that you could build, especially now with the task oriented Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Again, there's other AI resources you can use. Chat GPT is just the one I use currently. But there's a whole bunch out there that you can leverage to do whatever it is. Like if you can think it, you could probably do it with AI somewhere somehow.
Nice. What are your thoughts on the whole Stargate AI thing that got announced earlier this week by the
Oh, I
president
love it.
and stuff?
I love it. I think you have to learn. I don't think. Well, I will say this: AI will replace some jobs, but it's not going to replace every single job. I think
Yeah.
everyone right now will need to know how to use it. It's not going to go away.
Hmm.
It's only going to get better. Um, and I think it's going to pick up the pace of modernizing technology a lot quicker. I think you can see. I'm starting to see glimpses of like what we thought the future would look like
Oh yeah,
self-driving
definitely,
cars.
definitely, yeah.
I can't wait until Optimus gets released by Tesla so that we could hire or we could buy one of those robots to fold laundry. I mean, man, if you can buy a
Hmm.
robot to fold laundry, that's invaluable because I feel like that's the biggest time suck right now.
Yep, yep. No, I get you. So on that part, I was gonna, man, we could bring up another. We could talk about this again later, but um, I was watching an Optimus robot, and they were like lingy cement and stuff. So like they're doing all the cement work, and I'm like, dang, dude, this like might replace some yate workers, dude. But I was like, it's crazy to think that it's getting to that point where like the mobility of the robots is getting so precise that it's becoming almost better than humans. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I mean that's nuts. Like Tesla's releasing their fleet of car of driverless cars, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yep.
where you can have your own fleet of taxis.
Hmm.
They're just things are changing so fast that if you're not learning the technology, man, you have to somehow, some way. I think that's the only way it'll be marketable. Is you have to learn to work with the technology to be able to live in a future that is evolving faster than I think we think it's moving.
Yeah, definitely. I guess like, what are your thoughts on this? But in my opinion, I feel like it's good though because that fear of like AI replacing, like that should drive you, and it probably will drive you to either learn the technology or figure out ways you can contribute to the technology itself. It just reminds me of like something my coaches would say, like at football practice, like you shouldn't be scared of competition. It should drive you and motivate you to be better within yourself. You know what I mean? So, what are your thoughts on that? And,
No, I agree. And there's a saying out there: technology is only as good as what we put into it, right? And
mm-hmm.
it- there's still a lot of problems with AI. And so if you're
Yeah,
one who's able to, it- and you don't need to know, like right now, people are building applications that they have no tech background whatsoever, but because they ask great questions, they're able to
yeah,
solve problems. And so I think if you're a problem solver, you'll do great. But I think if you're stuck in this notion of like, nah, AI is not going to replace me, I do a better job. I think that'll be a problem in the future.
mm-hmm.
So
What are
I
you? Oh, go
I
ahead. Go
don't
ahead.
I don't think it's IT's or AI is gonna replace everything. And I think AI is only as good as you make it, right? The AI agent I built is only as good. I mean, there's still some flaws that I still have to fix within the agent itself. Um, so again, it's only going to be as good as you put into it.
Yep. What advice would you give to like people in general or within our community, like Tongans, Samoans, like Polynesians in general, in terms of learning like a new technology? Because I would say for sure that like, did your program have anything AI related? And if it did, it's probably still pretty base level, right? So how did you go about
Yeah.
learning the new tech, and what advice would you give to someone that wants to learn a new technology?
Um, Biggest advice is just start. Stop overthinking it. Don't get analysis paralysis.
Yeah. Yep.
Just think about the most simplest thing that you can do with it and just do it. Test it out, see if it works, and then just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I think in that hacking group that we got into, um, they were way more advanced. And it's funny because I thought I was pretty advanced because I had certificates.
Mm-hmm.
One of the gentlemen that I learned a lot from, Derek, he literally was, to me, he was like a guru, right? He knew everything
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
what we were doing and he knew how to get in and out of networks pretty quick and he could get administrative rights pretty fast. And see, I have certificates. I'm a pen test plus, I'm a network plus. And so in my mind on paper, like I thought I was like, man, I know this stuff. But what he knew is the application part. He had been doing this for years
Right. Right.
before I had even read about it. So I knew the ideology, the methodology, but
Yeah.
what I lacked, because you put me in front of a computer, um, starting right, knowing how to hack, I couldn't tell you. I knew the methods, the ideologies of it,
Yep.
but being able to see him apply it, that was a whole new world. So I think if you're going to have analysis paralysis, that's not going to bode well for you. If anything, the only way to learn this stuff is put yourself out there.
Mhm. No, I appreciate that. I think, um, in addition to that, one thing I did like from one of your LinkedIn posts, this is early on when I was like trying to figure out what I wanted to do in cybersecurity and stuff, was like you had posted something about like being curious, and like I would just add on to what you said too, is like start and just continue to be curious in terms of like the new technology that emerges, right? So,
Yeah, because
no,
there's
I
this
appreciate
notion.
all the insight.
Yeah, there's this notion like you need to know everything. That's what I thought, right? You
Hmm.
don't need to know everything. If anything, you just need to know very little, and then from that little, you can just expand on everything. I always think of Elon Musk, right? He started with credit card payments.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
how
Yeah,
he
yeah.
got.
Yep.
That's how he got big,
PayPal,
right?
right?
Yeah, PayPal. And then the fact that he is now into cars and rockets
Rockets.
should speak to you. Yeah. If he can do
Dude,
it,
what are your thoughts? What are your
granted,
thoughts
he's
on
Elon
that
Musk.
that rocket?
Man, of course you're gonna fail, but I think eventually that guy is too driven to not
Oh,
succeed.
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
So I think eventually those rockets will be, man, they'll be unreal. Um,
hmm
but
The
yeah, I
fact that
think
they can come back, you know what I mean, like, and
yeah,
not
that
waste
concept,
material, like, 'cause those are millions of dollars. Yeah.
man, that concept, the way he figured that out, because before we were just launching stuff and just dropping crap, right?
Just drop. Yeah.
And then
Exactly, dude.
to think that was like, hey, what if we like made it come
Save
back so
that
we won't
stuff.
waste? Yeah, we're not wasting anything. I was like, man, that's interesting. It makes you think, because like, man, this is a guy who started in the financial industry trying to get credit card payments or online payments. Now he's in
Yep.
trying to discuss how we reuse battery and change the world and how we can live on Mars. Like that's nuts. And so I think you
Yep.
can gather inspiration from that. Like you can be just like Elon. It's just apply yourself. Don't be afraid. And I think that's the biggest thing is you can't be afraid to make mistakes. I think in
Yeah.
any role that you're in, you can't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to make them. You're gonna fall flat on your face. Own it and learn from it.
I guess in closing, what advice would you give to like the up and coming generation, like your kids? What advice do you give your kids in terms of, because I know tech's not for everybody, but like, what advice do you share with your kids if they do have an interest in tech, or someone that's watching this that has an interest in getting into technology?
Um, I would say don't play. I always tell my kids. I always hope my kids never play football. We actually held out my son until he was like in fourth, fifth grade before he played.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say if you're trying to get into tech, just whatever your parents allow you, whatever resource you have available to you, start there. Um, if
Yep.
it's gaming, if you're like, because now that I'm seeing like the fact that my son's able to play online with his
hmm
cousins versus someone across the country or across the world. Um, I think just be curious, like you said, be curious and just don't be afraid to ask the question. You don't need to know everything. Just ask a
Yep.
question and go from there.
Man, appreciate your insights and advice tonight, Downey, and being on the podcast. So, yeah, appreciate you, and we'll tune into you guys next week. Take care.